if a fluoride truck crashes on the highway, they have to clear the highway for miles around, and people come in Tyvek suits and respirators and gloves to do the cleanup. And it's a toxic ingredient. It's a toxic byproduct of certain chemical process and oil industry process.
Conspiracy theory to conspiracy fact. Remember how crackpots used to say that fluoride in the water had a detrimental effect on consciousness, maybe even lowered your IQ and made you more malleable? What tinfoil hat wearing lunatics they were. What crackpots, whack jobs and nutters those people were. Texas City has just banned the addition of fluoride into the water. Why? Because studies have revealed that it's in fact detrimental to children's mental health. Let's have a look at that story now. You conspiracy theorists, you ding-alongs, you dingalings and dingbats.
A federal judge in California has ordered the Environmental Protection Agency to address the potential impacts of fluoride in drinking water because high levels could affect children's IQ levels. K-Texas reporter Karina Hollingsworth says the city of Abilene isn't taking any chances.
As of right now, I've directed Rodney Taylor with the Utility Department to stop adding fluoride to the city's drinking supply until the EPA makes a final ruling on what they're going to do.
City Manager Robert Hanna is unsure when the EPA will make that ruling. He said it could be months or even years, and he stresses that the decision to halt water fluoridation is a decision of caution.
There's not a real parallel between what we do in the city and what this research shows. This research was mostly done in foreign countries, mostly with groundwater, and mostly in areas where fluoride occurs very, very high naturally.
The city manager says the city of Abilene previously followed American Dental Association recommendations.
We treat our drinking water to 0.7 parts per million of fluoride. That's the recommendation by the American Dental Association. The research that this judge relied upon, they had levels that were 1.5 parts per million all the way to 4, 5, 6, 7 parts per million, so dramatically higher levels.
According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, water fluoridation keeps teeth strong and reduces cavities by about 25%. But Carol Crockett says she agrees with the city's decision.
I know a lot of people don't drink like tap water. They buy a lot of their water, but I think that's probably one less thing for them to worry about. I mean, the young are like the future. They're dealing with a lot of things now as it is. And so I think that's just a great idea to, like I said, to be focused on the people, but even more so to be focused on the young children. So I think that's a good move.
Hannah says City Council will have an opportunity in their upcoming meeting on October 3rd to make a decision on whether or not they would like to continue fluoridating until the EPA makes a decision.
Food and water, pretty significant subjects, and the reason I'm excited about Bobby Kennedy potentially entering government is because he's explicitly said and for years has campaigned for new regulation when it comes to big pharma. He has consistently pointed out that many of the highest ranking officials in the CDC, NIH, etc. profit from new drugs, benefit from malign health and malign policy. Surely we can come together and agree that these subjects, health, anti-war, free speech, are worth us uniting for, even if it's temporarily. Here's Bobby Kennedy on the subject of fluoride, something he's been outspoken on for a long time.
I think fluoride is a poison. My son was saying this. My son was in the hazardous waste industry, and he had to take an exam. And that if a fluoride truck crashes on the highway, they have to clear the highway for miles around, and people come in Tyvek suits and respirators and gloves to do the cleanup. And it's a toxic ingredient. It's a toxic byproduct of certain chemical process and oil industry process. And for many years, those industries, it was costing them thousands of dollars per drum to get rid of them. And then they came up with the idea, why don't we put it in the water supply? And they did that, and it causes cancers. Of course, it causes your bones to deteriorate, and it causes severe IQ loss. And last week, a group that I'm associated with won a 7-year lawsuit against EPA on fluoride that I think will result in the fluoride being removed from all the water supplies in this country.
Pretty staggering, isn't it, actually, to see another conspiracy theory become a conspiracy fact. Remember, at the beginning of the pandemic, how people that were cynical, skeptical, and doubtful about the administration of a newly augured medication that has some extraordinary components in it and hasn't been clinically trialed for its efficacy to the degree that you might demand, that's caused adverse events that would be a red flag in any other area. And now subjects like fluoride, that are almost like, you know, the moon landings didn't happen, or Area 51, or JFK was killed by the CIA. I'm not talking about the veracity of those matters. I'm talking about them being good old-fashioned staples of the conspiracy theory world, have been proven to be fact. What's next? The Loch Ness Monster is an actual real thing. What's next? That there is an ulterior conscious force available to you if you are willing to surrender self to a higher entity and more beautiful principles. What's next? That we could unify against this materialistic, rationalistic, cynical and bureaucratic force for evil that has its tendrils laced around our planet like a demonic dark octopus leaking its dark ink of treachery across all of our lives. Yes, indeed, we could awaken. Yes, indeed, we could oppose it, and surely we must. If fluoride is bad for you, who knows what else we're going to learn, and who knows what democracy would look like when it's decentralized, where the individual sovereignty is accepted, when all of us bow before a higher force, when all of us practice principles that go way beyond the service of self. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and chat. If you're watching this on YouTube, turn on that notification bell right now. The algorithm is not our friend. It wants you watching corporate media, which is the psychological equivalent of fluoride. It lowers your IQ and it clogs you neurologically. The war against free speech is in full swing. We are the vanguard, bravely fighting back. Rumble's the home of this channel, Stay Free, and a leader in defending the fundamental human right of free speech. They've joined X to sue a cartel of advertisers and ad agencies who conspired to block ad revenue from going to the platforms. Recently, they've launched Rumble Premium. This, I think, is going to be a game changer for all of us. It's an ad-free viewing experience with great perks for viewers and creators. Rumble Premium will give you the ability to dive into your favorite content on your mobile or desktop or smart TV and savor every uninterrupted second of my content. Why don't you upgrade to Rumble Premium today? Support my free speech and the free speech of other content creators on this platform. Please go to Rumble now, rumble.com/premium. And if you use the code BRAND, you'll save $10 and Rumble will be aware that our stream is creating great converts. So that's rumble.com/premium and do use the code BRAND to save $10. Anyway, there's a link there at the bottom of the screen now. We're posting it in the chat. Join up. Our new The Oracle series, our first ever group interviews designed to bring the greatest and most authoritative voices in particular subjects together for the very first time. Robert Malone, Dr. Pierre Corey, and Steve Kirsch.
What we've experienced is a globally deployed psychological bioterrorism playbook. It's well developed.
And then I started to see just global propaganda directed at essentially distorting, dismissing, and suppressing the evidence of efficacy. And I saw it as a crime.
And at that point, I knew that this was not just a coincidence. There were too many black swans over too short a period. I've never heard anything like this story in my life.
They seem to get the human psyche so well when it comes to brainwashing us and propagandizing us to the direction that they want us to go in, that you would think that they would know that pulling all of these various tactics would actually just push support towards Trump, not away from him.
Ryan Ruth, some of his posts even show that he appeared to have been working with, in his own words, the U.S. Embassy in Kiev. He's doing effectively military intelligence, human trafficking of terrorists.
It's in this context that I think Ruth was kind of radicalized. He decided that while he wanted to assassinate Putin, the easier thing would be to assassinate Donald Trump.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.